Hello and salutations to everyone except for my 9th grade gym teacher and that lady that almost hit me with her car in the McDonald's parking lot in 2021. Welcome back to Where Are We Now? The only digital exploration series that is shaken, not stirred. Today I've got a very special episode for you all. We're finally taking the series to Minecraft. Minecraft is the best-selling video game of all time. It has served as the spark that ignited countless imaginations. It's the escape that so many people need, Jack Black included. I do not have to explain Minecraft to the vast majority of you. But in case you're one of my viewers tuning in from the Outer Rim territories, Minecraft is a game about placing blocks. Like everyone else, the itch to actually play Minecraft for me is an intense and short-lived one. My 2-week phases have sadly become less frequent over time. At first, it was every 6 months or so, then every year, and this here right now would be the first time that I've felt the call since around 2022, which has strangely become the linchpin of this video's entire premise. We are going to be exploring a dead survival multiplayer world. This isn't a trailblazing idea or anything. Lots of other creators that are more talented than me have done this exact thing before. However, I've got a personal twist for this video. I'm bringing you all something unique. Something that only a dozen or so people have ever seen before. This dead server that we're exploring in this episode was called BDSMP. It was active from January to March in 2022, and it was actually my very own survival multiplayer server, hosted for a private Discord of friends and friends of friends. So dim the lights and silence your phones because there's a whole abandoned world out there to see. Before we get started, a special thanks to all my patrons who make videos like this possible. Check the description to learn how you can support the channel for as little as $3 a month. Ready? Of course you are. Let's get to it. So here we are in the hub town. I started building this in November of 2021 and finished it in about 3 weeks with some help. I'm gonna do a very quick tour since talking about something that I made isn't that interesting to me. The most important part of the hub town is the museum. The idea was to provide players on the server with something else to do outside of the usual vanilla gameplay loop. I put up lots of empty displays that players were encouraged to donate to, like in Animal Crossing. There are displays for tools, armor, flowers, music discs. Pretty much anything of interest that you could find or craft in-game has a slot in here somewhere. I'm honestly surprised with how well the players took to this idea. Around 75% of the exhibits got filled out before people started to jump ship. Surrounding the museum are several standard buildings. There's an inn, a few shops, a couple of regular houses, the dungeon. Since this hub town was built at the world spawn and the center of the map, it was not uncommon to see players meeting up here to trade, join up together for quests, or just to explore. One of my favorite moments that happened during the server's lifetime was when players started to build paths out from the hub world that would meander around the forests and over bridges to provide a route to their houses, effectively joining everything together in one network of roads. If you wanted to find a player or their base, you could just follow the signs. Of course, now if you follow the road, it's going to be pretty lonely. There are no more players, no more trades to be made, and no more adventures to share. Only the empty, dilapidated structures left here as lonesome monuments to creativity. Now there's poetry to the fact that after years of going untraveled, these paths are fulfilling their purpose one more time as I use them to locate player-built structures. So let's follow the road out of town and see what we can find. Just a little bit down the path, it turns into this quite impressive stone footpath that looks like it took forever and a day to build. What is this, deep slate? It looks nice with the stone bricks on either side. Holy mackerel! It just stretches on and on, fading into the distance. Look, it cuts straight through this hill, too. I'd like you to keep something in mind as you watch this. This was a survival mode server. I was the only person who had access to creative mode, and I only used it to build locations for quests. Which means that whoever built this road had to manually mine all of this stone, smelt it all in furnaces, and craft it into bricks before placing them down. It must have taken days. Whoa, that is quite an imposing mountain. What is this, a kingdom of bees? I'd recognize this level of rampant earth hollowing anywhere. I've known this player since high school. They're a close friend of mine, and we used to actually have a Let's Play channel together. They go by Moonlight Manta now, and they always do this. Emptying out a mountain like a dwarf instead of building a house on the surface is second nature to Manta. It's like breathing to them. I like the pillager banners on either side of the main hall. Those, combined with the rug down the center and the long lines of deep slate set into the regular stone, lend it a very kingly feel. And the scale is just immense. Oh yeah, I remember this actually. The pit. Once we built ourselves up to the topmost level in the sky and jumped all the way down into the bottom. That was fun. I bet the residents of this place would start hearing voices if this pit didn't get the right sacrifices every week. Wow, look at this. These furnaces are still going. Almost 4 years later. I mean, granted, they don't run if the chunk isn't loaded, but still. At first, I found it pleasant to know that some of the tasks set in motion by the long-gone players were still being done, but now that I think about it, it's a little bit eerie. The life has long since left this place, and yet the machinery continues to churn out its product for nobody. It's kind of like the one robot in Castle in the Sky that's still tending to the gardens and leaving flowers on gravestones, even though nobody else has been around for years. Look at this bed. Oh yeah, there's nothing more comfy than falling asleep next to an actively spinning table saw. My leg would be gone on the first night of sleeping like this for sure. I'm a prolific starfisher, what can I say? Let's head down the stairs, there's lots more to see. That's quite the farm, actually. There's probably enough down here to sustain someone for weeks. At what point are you no longer planting crops for food, but just for presentation's sake? The jack-o'-lantern set in the floor as lighting is an interesting choice. I guess if you have an excess of them, they do make a pretty good light block. Down the stairs a bit more is an enchanting table, and I have to say I like the way this is all laid out. Each level serves a different purpose, it's fairly organized. There's some sort of huge water highway down here, a small forest for wood, a minecart track, and of course strip mines at the very bottom. I don't dare to explore the minds of a player neurotic enough to do this much digging in the first place, because if I do, I might get lost forever. But I am going to help myself to this water elevator. Oh shit. That was awesome. What a rush. I'm kind of a Minecraft grandpa. I didn't even know you could make something like this until I saw Manta do it here. The only elevator I ever made was using pistons and stairs in like 1.2. It took forever, and it wasn't even that fast. This is a much better way to do it. If you follow the waterway underground, it takes you to a villager sweatshop, where they work all 10 minutes of the day to do their master's bidding. This is sad. Look at them all, just squeezed together down here underground, forced to sleep just 1 block away from each other. And look at these. These ones are forced to sleep with their heads right next to a spinning table saw. I like to think that they're forced to work so much from birth that these villagers actually need the sounds of heavy equipment right beside their heads to fall asleep. It's like a lullaby to them. If that isn't the saddest shit I've ever heard. Well, at least there's 2 iron golems patrolling the area to keep them safe. Or to prevent them from escaping, because at this point that wouldn't even surprise me. I actually just watched the Minecraft movie for the first time like a month ago, and can I just say that while I thought most of the movie looked very good, the way they designed the villager's face, it makes me want to scream my entire lung capacity directly into the character designer's face until I faint. It's the cheeks. The damn cheeks make it look way too human. It's freaky looking and I don't like it. Get it off the screen. So I think we've seen the highlights of this player's base. It's impressive, and while you would have to be clinically insane to do this much digging, I respect it. This had to have taken a lot of time and grinding to carve out. I know that there are lots of people that enjoy that sort of crunch, but I'm not one of them. So to me, this sort of thing done in survival mode is a superhuman feat. Following the deep slate highway further down past the entrance to Manta's Hollow, the steps descend into an acacia valley. This is another player's base. Let's call them Impala. I want to say that I remember this place originally being a naturally generating village before Impala came, saw, conquered, and enslaved the population of farmers living here. I have to say, ethnic cleansing aside, I like what they've done with the place. It looks really cozy at night, and I'm biased towards orange because of my love of Halloween and Half-Life. I used to hate the look of acacia wood in this game, but I think it's grown on me. It's nice. Hello? Ah, what the hell? More prisoners! I get that this is how you min-max getting stuff from villagers, but goddamn if it doesn't look really bad from an outside perspective. Impala has these villagers all cooped up in here just like how Moonlight Manta does it. What makes that even funnier now is that Manta and Impala are married now. In real life. They're perfect for each other in their human rights violating ways. Yeah, these librarians are all master level, crammed in here like sardines. It's definitely an effective way to farm enchantment books, but I don't know. If you squeeze a dozen of the smartest villagers in the world into a tiny room like this for this long, you might get more than you bargained for. They're gonna solve the mystery of consciousness or whatever, and no one will ever know because of the stairs block placed in front of the door. I guess that's one mystery they can't solve. There is some pretty nice gardening work going on further into the valley here, but what really catches my eye is the big ship that's moored at the dock. Look at this thing. It looks great. What would that be, a galleon? I wonder if she's seaworthy. Let's take a look inside. The aquarium on board the ship is classy looking. I love the look of it. I sometimes forget the axolotls are real. They're just so otherworldly and colorful. Oh yeah, this is definitely where Impala was staying. Sundersword. Sharpness 10? Unbreaking 5. Wow, I forgot about this item. Yeah, I mentioned quests in passing earlier. One of the things I would do on this server is create or import points of interest and dungeons that players could go out and find in the wilderness. Completing them and exploring these locations would reward players with special items that were often enchanted beyond the regular threshold. If I'm remembering correctly, I think the Sundersword here was located at an abandoned windmill. Maybe we'll find it later. Up on the deck, I have to tip my hat to Impala's idea of using mostly barrels instead of chests here. They're more ship-like than chests are. They fit pretty well. Oh, this must be the captain's quarters. Evening, Cat. It looks like this is the access hatch to the axolotl tank. Oh hey, they do have names. Fraser, Anderson, Jesse, and James. Is that a Pokemon reference? In my Pastafarian Minecraft server? All in all, this is a great base. I love it when people exercise the creative sides of their brains and build bases that lie outside of the traditional house styles like this. I know I always build a house, so this is refreshing to see. Alright, if we head out of Impala's Acacia Valley and follow the Deep Slate Highway back a bit, there's another branching path that I walked by on my way in here. There's a cute banner of a sunflower, so I'd better see at least one sunflower out here. I hate it when a sign lies. It always pleases me when I see someone build a nice bridge over a gap instead of just a straight line of dirt blocks. That's the sort of artistic work ethic we need more of in this world. Oh wow, this is a splendid area. I feel warm and tingly inside just looking at it. This player's name was B, I think, and I find that to be a very fitting label. I never really came out this way while the server was active. Now I see that I was missing out. This is quite an operation here. I love the bee banner at the entrance too. Banners don't really get enough love, do they? I'm not sure how bees work in this game because like I said, I'm a Minecraft grandpa, so if anyone knows the significance of having the campfires under trapdoors that open with pressure plates, let me know. All I know for sure is that a lot of honey came out of this place. This whole thing feels very weird to me. Normally, I am not the type of player to snoop around someone's place unless I'm invited or just looking around at the outside of it. Like, exploring Gary's Mod maps is one thing. Those are designed and built for players to explore. This, though, is a place that B built for themselves, not for the other players. Seeing the inside of someone's private house in Minecraft has a level of intimacy outside the reach of Gmod maps, in my opinion. And this is a really pretty house, too. The choice of terracotta blocks for the main walls and the wooden logs as corners and trim pulls it together really well and makes it feel very cottage-like. And in the back there's this adorable little gazebo complete with benches. This is great. It's clear that B was one of those players that likes to build pretty things, and I can relate to that. When I play Minecraft, I definitely lean towards practicality, but I tend to throw a good bit of aesthetics into my buildings too. What good is surviving if you can't do it in style? We'll visit my castle later, and you'll see what I mean. This place is super nice, though. I dig it. It strikes me as a Stardew Valley farm, but in Minecraft, which only makes the giant otherworldly tendrils creeping up out of the earth just a few blocks away even more jarring. This looks very ominous. I bet the trunks hum softly when there's rain on the way or something. There's a second gorgeous house down by the water, too. I have no idea if this is also B's build or if it's from someone else, but it's definitely up to the same aesthetic standards. Inside, there are signs on the wall. Landscape, plant soil, boulders near water, interior access to basement, wheat water, Blackbird. I think this is an old to-do list. I know that Blackbird was another player on the server, so maybe this was their house? Or maybe Blackbird stole something, and B was planning something dastardly but didn't want to leave exact evidence? That's what I would do. It looks like they didn't get very far into their to-do list. I don't see any boulders in the water, and there definitely isn't interior access to the basement. It is kind of sad to see projects abandoned like this. But what can you do? Guys, Elden Ring came out towards the tail end of this server's life cycle. The yearly Minecraft phase didn't stand a chance once that released. I would know. I am definitely guilty of dropping this server like a bad habit after I heard the call of grace. I actually do have to wonder who the very last player to log on was. It must have been very lonely around here. Almost as lonely as it is now, walking the abandoned farms and houses, encountering countless half-finished builds and pets just left sitting around, waiting for owners who will never return. I guess that's just the natural way of things. Hey, what's that? There's a house up in those taiga trees. I don't think I've ever found this one before. What am I looking at here? It's like they built a regular estate-style house and then started building this bizarre, monolithic pillar up through the center of it. Drinking tea since 1997. Leaves fall, I catch them. Water boils, I brew them. That's almost a haiku. Yeah, I remember this player. They were called T. And while I don't think I ever met them in-game, I did see them prancing around Hubtown a handful of times. This is a nice place, though. I'm particularly fond of the use of item frames to denote room purposes. Even though I would instantly know that this was a library once I walked in, it's still nice to have confirmation. It's a pretty nice library, too, but I might complain about the lack of places to sit if I were to start browsing the volumes. Oh yeah, this is really nice, actually. They were at least in the kitchen with this layout. It's a shame it doesn't look like they finished it. I think T was also building a second structure out here in front of the initial one. I wonder what it was going to be. I guess we'll never know. There's some really horrific animal pins in the back beyond the wheat field. There has to be at least a dozen cows squeezed into each one of these holes. Man, this is fucked up. How hard is it to build a wooden fenced-in area so that they can walk around? How much of your time could it possibly take to build the villagers proper rooms instead of cramming them all in one bunk hall like prisoners? I'm letting them out. Preservation be damned. Be free, my magnificent mooing friends. Enjoy the grass beneath your hooves and the breeze through your spotted coat. That's even more than I expected to be in there. Let's do the other one. Holy shit! Look at them shooting out of it. It's like a damn faucet. Wow. That felt really good. Not even from a moral standpoint. Just the sheer sight of them pouring out like that. Like those drainage pipe unclogging videos. Can we see that again? Oh yeah, that's the shit. Perfect. Well, I guess we'd better skedaddle. This house belongs to the cows now. I'm a little bit lost out here, so I think I'll head back to the path and follow a different route. If I'm remembering the layout of this place correctly, this way should take us to Dan's village. This is the very same Dan who provided the voice for Prisms in the WAWN episode Gmod Maps That Go Even Deeper. He's the type of Minecraft player where you'll see him log on one day and plunk a crafting table down somewhere, and if you check on him just a few hours later, he will 100% have full diamond enchanted gear, and will be asking if you're ready to fight the Ender Dragon yet. Fun little anecdote about that. On the second or third day of the server, he was ready to go to the end and fight the dragon, but nobody else had the gear for it yet. So out of sheer desperation for something to kill, he spawned the Wither instead. Of course, he got killed by it almost instantly, and it was just running loose, destroying the countryside for a few minutes, until I was asked to come on and despawn it with commands, since they had no way to kill it and prevent it from wrecking everything. He got a lot of shit for that. Anyway, this is his base. Like Impala's place, it used to be a naturally spawning village full of bustling trade opportunities and bright-eyed villagers. I do know that Dan's place here somehow earned the name Tiananmen Square at one point, so that doesn't exactly bode well. One of my favorite spots in the entire server is the Glowberry Garden in the back. I remember players walking over from all over the map just to take a look at this place once it was finished. It was gorgeous back then, and now that I'm using shaders, it looks even better. It makes me want to just put down a book and read a blanket for hours on end. I think this is also the largest food farm on the entire server. I mean, there are hundreds of crops here. Beets, potatoes, carrots, wheat. More than anyone could ever need. Probably enough to feed the entire server for a while. As a matter of fact, let's check the math on that, starting with the potatoes. Here, it's a field of 25 blocks by 19 blocks of farm plots. If you take away the occasional divots that were dug for water, that's a total of 455 potato crops right here. As you can see, we're talking about big numbers already. If you harvest the potatoes without a fortune enchanted tool, the crops drop 2 to 5 potatoes each time. So let's average that out to 3.5 taters per crop to simplify the calculation. This results in a whopping total of 1,593 spuds each time this entire field is harvested. If we extrapolate that same math to the other edible crops, there will be 900 wheat, 1,513 carrots, and 329 beetroots every time the full farm is harvested. That's a lot of nosh. But how much would each player on a server need every day anyway? To figure this out, I played an entire day in a new world on normal difficulty, and tried to do what I thought might amount to an average day of activities. I chopped some trees, built a house, mined a bit, and watched the gorgeous Java sunset bask the snowy countryside in pinkish hues as it set beyond the horizon, elongating my shadow as a harbinger of night. I found that I burnt through 7 of the 10 hunger bar ham shanks from sunrise on day 1 to sunrise on day 2. I think that we can safely assume that each crop would be eaten in the easiest and most efficient way possible. So potatoes would be eaten as baked potatoes, wheat as bread, beetroots as beetroot soup, and carrots would just be eaten raw. I don't know anyone who runs around with golden carrots in their inventory. Considering the amount of hunger bar that these items fill and how much of each ingredient is needed to prepare them, the harvest of the fields expressed as hunger bar ham shanks is as follows. The potato field fills 3,983 shanks per harvest. The wheat field fills 750. The carrot field 2,270, and the beetroots 330. This comes out to a complete total of 7,333 hunger bar ham shanks for one single complete harvest of the entire farm. That's enough to feed a single player for 1,047 standard Minecraft days, or just about 3 in-game years. But of course this was a multiplayer server, not just a single player world. Just going off what I remember, I think I would say that for this server, there would have been about 5 players on at any given time on average, while the server was active. So if we add all that up, divide it out, distribute the food evenly across these players, this farm alone could feed the entirety of the BDSMP server for a grand total of 210 standard Minecraft days. And again, this is just a single harvest of the fields. I used a lot of hot dog math here, so feel free to check my numbers, but I can say for certain that nobody was going hungry. Not while Glowberry Farm here was churning out non-stop veggies. It's a good thing they didn't have to worry about crop rotation or food preservation. If this were Vintage Story, it would be a completely different situation. The village proper out front is pretty nice, by the way. I am pleasantly surprised to find a few actual residents living here. Their frumpy faces completely unmarred by the inhumane villager concentration camps that we've seen so far. No, these fellows are free range. And they've managed to survive these last few years without a player sealing them inside of a sweatshop, all thanks to the large perimeter fence that goes around most of this place, and the insane food stockpile that they were left with. It looks like Dan actually didn't build up too much and opted just to live outside in the elements. Huh. That has literally never occurred to me. If you have a radius of torches large enough around you, you actually don't need to build any structures at all. And it looks like that's what we have here, since most, if not all of his stuff is outside in these chests. Hey, check it out. These are some of the quest books that I wrote to guide players on the quests that I set up for them. It's neat to see these here. I was wondering where they would turn up. I really like what he's done with the nether portal here, especially since I'm one of those players who just plunks their portal down underground somewhere without much presentation to it at all. There's a nice deep slate brick platform and a glass floor with some glowstone and magma blocks underneath it. That's way more than I'd expect from someone who didn't even build a house. It looks like there are some abortive attempts at building stuff, like this diorite pathway that leads down into an area that's in the process of being hollowed out. And Dan may have had plans to build up here on this flattened out hill, but we'll never know for sure. Unless he somehow remembers and comments what his plans were on this video, but that'll never happen. If we follow the dirt path out of Dan's village as it meanders and winds around the hill, we come to this little church location. This is one of the first quest locations that I built. There's a couple pages of lore on the lectern, a little cellar underneath the pews, and a graveyard along the side of the building. I wonder if... Yep, it's still here. Nobody ever found the alabaster dawn buried in this grave, or the note in the grave adjacent to it. Yeah, I wrote a lot of these little pieces of world building, and they all have this sort of desolate sadness to them. An overarching malaise, likely due to the fact that at this point, we had all gone through 2 years of COVID, and all that came with it. It's just funny that something this grim is in the world of Minecraft of all things. I don't speak for just myself when I say I'm in a much better place now, and if I were to do another server and write more lore for it, I bet it would be a lot less depressing. There might even be a smiley face emoticon in there somewhere. Man, look at this canyon here. I'm of the opinion that the Cliffs and Caves update is going to go down in history as one of the most important updates that Minecraft has ever received. The new world generation models do wonders for making the terrain feel more like its own world and less like a game made up of blocks. Sometimes I'll play heavily modded Minecraft for a different experience, which involves rolling back your game version in most cases, but I don't think I could ever go back to a pre-Cliffs and Caves build, even for all the great mods. The hills, valleys, and caverns are just too good now. Wow, looky here, I found it. Egg's Tavern. Egg was another frequent player on the server, and my real-life brother from the same mother. He brought a friend into the server to play with him, but I don't remember their name, just that they were usually around when he was. And yeah, this was their base. This is the third player base that's built in or right beside a village. I never realized this was such a popular choice, but I guess there is practicality in having merchants to trade with right outside your front door in the early game. I like how the only thing in this house other than a staircase down is a bunch of cakes. I can picture these two bozos so clearly running up these stairs to refill their hunger bars after mining for a while before running right back down there. What does everyone think? Is this the worst chest placement you've ever seen? It's up there for me. Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna let him out. I really didn't think I'd be playing Minecraft Moses in this video, but stranger things have happened. This is an extremely utilitarian base. There isn't much in the way of visual style at all so far. You'd expect me to mean that as an insult, but I really don't. I actually think it's an interesting insight into the many different reasons that people play this game for in the first place. What you're looking at right now is just one of the many archetypes of players. Picture a spectrum. All the way on the right is this place. Bare bones, chests on the floor, whatever the hell this machine is. There's nothing here that's built for aesthetic purposes, except for maybe the glass ceiling. And then, all the way on the left side of the spectrum would be B's base, with that gorgeous gazebo overlooking the lush backyard, that picturesque house down by the lake, and the decision to focus on bees despite them not being that useful in the bigger picture of things. There aren't too many games out there nowadays that allow a player base this diverse to enjoy the experience in equal measure while going about very different goals. There is this building, though. This must be the tavern that the signs back in town mentioned. This is good. There's some real care put into this fire pit here. And I'll always tip my hat to the classic stairs and signs combo to make chairs. I honestly can't believe they haven't added more furniture to this game yet. But yeah, it's nice here. Passes my vibe check. I'd be half tempted to stop here and have a milk bucket or two. I do need the calcium after all. I don't know what donkey stinky means, though. I will say, out of all the other players who built their bases up around villages, this is the most horrifying one. There's not a soul left in the village buildings. They've all been enslaved and wrangled down into the underground like the fucking Falmer from Skyrim. The windows are all busted, the chests are gone, the crops have been stolen, they didn't even replant. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they salted the fields too, just to be thorough. Let's get out of here, there's some bad energy around. I don't want to encounter the ghosts of the villagers that Egg and his accomplice drowned in the well. They're probably pissed. Way down south of Hubtown, there's this long path that shoots far out from the other ones. I remember where it goes, so let's check it out. Look at this bridge. Yeah, Acey's house, I think. She had a Bob Ross skin and had started playing on the server pretty late compared to everyone else. So while she was setting up this adorable little house, other players were stashing their diamond gear away and hanging up their pickaxes forever. It reminds me of the old adage. For every old man placing his final block, there's a young boy placing his first. Anyway, Acey's little base here is infinitely charming for one specific reason. Okay, two actually. It's really cute, and checking her chests and items and stuff, she didn't seem to actually have that many things. She didn't do much mining, monster slaying, or exploring. She spent pretty much all of her time making pretty things like her house, the path to it, and the bridge stretching over the lake. She even built an actual entrance to her mine, where with most players it's just a simple hole in the ground. I have immense respect for that level of commitment to aesthetic, and I think she's the only player that built in a snowy biome. I don't know if nobody else ever found one or what, but I love Minecraft snow biomes. I think they look so cozy. Alright, there's one last location I want to show you all. My very own base. Now I haven't actually been here since like 2022 or so, but I bet I still remember how to get there. When the server was active, I would hop on to play after work every day for at least a few hours. The route from the hub town to my castle is burned into my memory. Hey, I remember this lake. Before I even started building the hub in the museum, we spent a long time testing seeds to find the perfect one. I got help from a few people, and I think it was actually Impala who found this one for us. I knew I wanted a circle of mountains surrounding a lake at the center of the map, and this one was perfect. I'll put the seed in the description if anyone wants to look around. That stone creeper face in the side of the mountain was one of the first things I built here. I don't know why I didn't put a secret cave in the creeper's mouth, though. That seems like the me thing to do. Wow! Check this out, this is fascinating. It's a creeper hole, instantly recognizable if you've put in your time. That's not fascinating, but the part that is the fact that the dropped items are still floating here. And creepers don't drop gunpowder if they blow up, so someone must have been fighting two at the same time and gotten too close. There's some rotten flesh back there too, so there must have also been a zombie. I've been playing in peaceful mode, so no enemy mobs could have spawned. Items dropped on the ground like this only stick around for 5 minutes before they despawn. So it's possible and likely that this creeper explosion was one of the very last things to have happened in this chunk, maybe even in the entire server. How very fitting that the last player occurrence that this server possibly saw was a player accidentally detonating a creeper on the communal path, and then just quitting out so that they didn't have to deal with it. Wow, that's even more eerie and cool than the furnaces still burning at Manta's Hollow. It's like the last whispered breath of a dying world. And finally, here we are. I don't know why I built so far away from everyone else. I think I just really liked the area. This is my castle. It was my virtual home for about 6 weeks or so in early 2022. And it is exactly how I remember it. Oh hey, my horses are still here. Hello Javier. Hello Bojangles. Hello son of Javier and Bojangles. It looks like they remember me. I think I was like the only player on the whole server who cared about horses, but I had my reasons, which we'll get into in a minute here. So yeah, the idea was to have a full castle, but as I was building it sort of morphed in my mind. Once the initial walls were up, I started thinking about how funny it would be if inside these walls was just an ordinary house instead of a fort. So I just ended up doing that. The structure back here I actually built before anything else, because I needed a place to stay while I was building the rest of it. It's simple, but it got the job done. And honestly, it doesn't look too bad for a day 2 or 3 build, if I do say so myself. This tiny dinky little thing is not mine. Someone else must have built this when I wasn't online, because I have no memory of it. It's sort of an unspoken rule of SMP not to build in another player's area, and I feel like all the people on the server understood that. So maybe I just built this at 3 in the morning and forgot about it. My insomnia was pretty bad back then. I just wasn't managing it well. Out back here beyond the walls is where all my farm efforts took place. My sugarcane, my chickens, my cows, pigs, sheep, etc. As you can see, they seem to have, overbred a bit. What? At least I didn't shove them all into a tiny 1x1 hole for years on end. You know what? Be free, my pretties. Roam the countryside, start a faction war with each other, I don't care. My money's on the cows, though. Creature Cove. Yeah, so there's this feeling that all Minecraft players are familiar with. After you've gone to the Nether, fought the Ender Dragon, raided an ocean monument, and done all the other progression stuff, you get this kind of like, now what feeling, where you kind of want to keep playing but you don't know what else to do. The Creature Cove here was one of my attempts to stay invested in the server well after I had done all the other things. I think I had more plans for it, but I guess I got sidetracked. There are 2 axolotls in here without names. I'm gonna fix that right now. The white one will be Jeremy, after the very best Twitch streamer Germa. And the pink one I will name Braun, after my favorite character in Dan Simmons' Hyperion book series. Jeremy and Braun, may they live well and prosper. Check this out. At first I remember building dirt rows out into the water over there to farm, but once I got sick of swimming down to get my crops to sunk to the bottom, I built this. It's an automatic farm, and this is when I'm realizing that my base makes my Minecraft grandpa status pretty obvious to any newer players. Because I'm pretty sure there are better and more complex ways you can do an automatic farm now, but this is how I learned how to do it in like 2012, and it just stuck with me. And would you look at that, it still works. On the topic of redstone, I'm pretty far removed from the players who are absolute whizzes with the stuff, but I'm remembering now that I did do something with the towers. I put these targets at the top of each of them with redstone lamps beneath them, so that you could know from far away if you hit the target. Oh yeah, the kids still got it. This is definitely one of those things I did idle-minded while I was having an interesting conversation with someone over Discord. I just know it. It has that just something for my hands to do feel to it. Okay, let's head into the house proper. I don't mean to boast or anything, but I think it looks pretty good for a Minecraft grandpa building in survival mode. I will say, I remember that roof being a pain in the ass, though. Wow, hi guys. I don't remember having 3 dogs, but here you are, just sitting on the kitchen counter like you own the damn place. They don't have names either, so real quick. You're Benson, you're Boonson, and you're, Paul. So yeah, as you can see, I was going for sort of a high medieval vibe with this place. I knew from the start that I wanted a fireplace, and I have to say, campfires are so nice for that. You used to have to be super careful building them out of netherrack in a wooden house, because if you didn't do it right, you'd burn your entire build to the ground. The floor here is made up of oak, spruce, and birch wood, and I have to be honest, I don't love it. When I was building it originally, I was using the DokuCraft texture pack, which is still my personal favorite. Here's a screenshot from deep within my hard drive of what it looked like back then. As you can see, it used to look a bit better. Down in the basement is my mass storage room with all of my goodies, and my infinite lava source. I was pretty proud of this one, not gonna lie. If you get some dripstone and enough iron for cauldrons and buckets, you never have to worry about fuel for your furnaces again. And also, I think I was the only player on the server who decorated their basement. Unless you count Manta, but like, their entire base is a basement, so I don't know. The line is blurry. Up on the second floor is my enchantment table setup and my map room. This map here on the wall was my fixation on this server. For some reason, I got very obsessed with the new map system. Well, it wasn't new by the time I got to it, but it was new to me. It allows you to create maps and fill them in by exploring the world with them in your hand. That part's not new, but now you can zoom them out and make like really huge maps. I thought, No, I still do think that it's super satisfying to fill out the maps and see the world around you in item frames like this. That's what Javier and Bojangles were for. Yep, old Javier and I saw quite a lot of adventure in our prime. Not only do horses make my neurotic filling in of the maps faster, but they also saved my spacebar. Since when you ride a horse in this game, you don't have to jump up on 1 block high inclines, you just go. Each one of these full-sized maps could take hours of my time though, so you could understand why I never got to fill out all 9 of them. This is an estimate, but I want to say that with a horse, filling out an entire map could take anywhere between 1 to 3 hours, depending on the terrain and if you could skip nighttime by sleeping. Up on the 3rd floor is the bedroom, and to be honest, there's not that much up here. I was pretty proud of this canopy bed, but that's really the only thing that's on this floor. Now I sort of regret not fleshing it out a little more, but what can you do? Okay, the very last thing I have to show you is up this ladder. I built this quaint little roof garden with 2 seats for sitting up here and enjoying the open sky and its soundtrack. The sound of wind blissfully sighing through the grass and the trees. Spots like this make me wish I could afford a VR headset to experience it in full 3D space. I bet it's straight up nap-inducing up here in full immersion. Catch me 4 or 5 years from now, inclined in a lazy boy, mouth open, completely unconscious, sitting on this very roof in Minecraft VR. Minecraft is so goddamn good, man. It's fun by yourself, but when you share it with your friends, it becomes straight up enchanting. Anyone who hasn't enjoyed an SMP world with their close friends is gonna accuse me of glazing, but I'm really not. There is so much charm in inhabiting and building up a world like this together. Even though we built on separate areas of the map, we were never more than a couple minutes away from each other, and what little sense of isolation we felt could be dissipated by a single chat message. Of course now, the loneliness is amplified quite a bit as I walk through the abandoned streets and empty player bases, seeing the ghosts of a once active server, but to be completely honest, it's really not as eerie as I thought it would be. Instead of the empty sadness I expected to feel when finding abandoned pets, half-built projects, and the abandoned town square, I am pleasantly surprised to say that most of what I'm experiencing here are some goddamn splendid memories. Memories of Dan almost ruining everything by spawning the Wither. Memories of going into the end together to slay the dragon. Memories of Manta desperately trying to offload several tons of stone onto anyone willing to take it. And these memories, these personal connections to a world long past its prime, it's what gives the loneliness a warmth that I never saw coming. It's been extremely rewarding to traipse through these many locations that players once called home, once filled with treasures and life. The partially built things are of particular interest to me. This is a common thread that connects all of these locations. Ideas half realized, creative processes just paused forever. It seems unfortunate when you first see it, these builds stuck in permanent limbo, but I prefer to focus on the fact that what is here is fascinating to explore just a few years later. This was only about 4 years ago, but our lives are so different now that it feels like a decade has gone by. There's a certain poetry to the fact that the final block hasn't been placed, and that it never will be placed. It's a beautiful stasis. A stasis that, when we consider it as a tribute rather than as a ghost, speaks to Minecraft in its entirety. The game that never dies and only fades away, only to come back into our lives when we really truly need it. It isn't sad or wrong to abandon something or to lose interest in it. That's just a natural part of life. Just as a player abandons their builds, never placing the final blocks, I will inevitably one day set the sun on this very YouTube channel. The circumstances are impossible to predict, but it's going to happen, eventually. I guess what I'm saying is you should live in the moment and soak up every ounce of the world whenever you can, in virtual worlds and in the real one. Things are happening, and you're a part of them. Thank you very much for tuning into this special and very personal episode of Where Are We Now? This one got real, I couldn't help it. It's been an unforgettable experience to explore the long-lost world of BDSMP and to share it with you all. It's my honest belief that anyone lucky enough to have friends they love spending time with should, at some point, share a Minecraft world with them. It's one of the most special experiences you can have in a video game, right up there with midnight releases and all-nighters spent grinding. It's something you're going to cherish for years to come. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I have a Patreon account now, so if you like my videos and feel like donating so that I can make more of them, I encourage you to check it out. The link is in the description. Alright, that's all I've got for this one. Sorry for making you feel things. I felt them too. Have a great night, and be sure to change the batteries in your smoke detectors at least once a year. Alright. See ya.